Okay, everybody, hello. It's Scribs. Welcome back to a new video. Today I want to show you, that's such a weird phrase to say. I want to show you how I made this piece and this piece that I really love, and basically the break down the process of it. And I'm also going to be releasing a PSD of this, which, by the way, a PSD, I don't know what it means and what it stands for. I always just assume it stands for Photoshop something. A Photoshop document file extension. Yes, a Photoshop document file extension. I was right. So I'm going to be giving you the layers of this basically. And let me go through everything. Basically how I wanted to make this piece. I made this because I had a thought in my mind about a Dermot Kennedy lyric, and then yeah, this came to fruition. So you can see what I did at first and how I like sketched from my mind what I thought the post should be like with the basic shapes I was aware of, and trying to work with the perspective that I know. And then on top of that, I started using a poser. So the poser I decided to use pose my art, but there's also this Just Sketch Me. I like both of them, but I think I like this one more because of the camera, how you can control the camera here and just like click certain stuff. And then in here, controlling the camera, it doesn't have that widget, I don't think. And you can save camera positions, right? But you can't really you can reset the camera too, and you can change the field of view, but you can't really move it with such refinement. But anyway, I used this poser, and I would recommend using a poser whenever you're trying to draw from imagination, so you can get the what you're picturing in your head to come on the page. So after doing that, I started to draw the skeleton that I saw on top of it. I basically had this right here, these posers right here, and one was for lighting. This is the lighting ref, and this is the shape, the pose ref. So I was doing this, and you can see how I struggled with the arms for a long time, and I kept drawing it over and over. In fact, this is actually a pretty long recording because I kept struggling over and over with drawing the arms and everything. So I took my first pass at it, and I was going to kind of stay with this unsatisfied feeling that I had, because I was like, well, I did it anyway, so let's keep pushing. But then I was starting to struggle on the eyes, and whenever I draw something, I want the face to look right always. And if the face doesn't look right, then I'm not doing it. I will not do it at all. So I was moving on to the clothes and thinking about points of tension. That's what I'm marking. And then I realized this is not right. So I traced over this pose reference, and then I was like, I'm going to redraw my pose and try to mimic this perspective, sort of. I drew on top of what I referenced, yeah, and then this is how I moved on from there, defining certain things and deciding that there were certain parts that were showing in the reference that wouldn't be, because like there's areas that would have skin that wasn't showing, like these little gaps, there would be skin overlaying that, so it probably wouldn't actually look like there's a gap for the arm. And that was one of the things that was bothering me. And then again, the messing up on the face, and there was also the chest area that I didn't really define that well, but I think it was fine in the end, because it was just like I just needed to have a vague understanding of what was going on. And then I decided to have her smile, and oh gosh, I struggled with the face a lot more. But in the end, I got it right, which is really awesome. And then I also ended up struggling with the pants. And so I redid that as well. And yeah, now I'm satisfied with the face. I redid the pants and I decided to make them slack so I don't have to draw every single detail that is usually in jeans. And I started to do my lining process. And what's it called? I'm gonna go over every layer after this, but after the lining process, I like kind of hate how this looks flat here, and I think there could have been more what's it called? More depth right here. I do think there could have been more depth right there to add to it, but it's okay because I think I got the point across. But yeah, so after I lined everything, then I started to work on lighting. So I pulled up this reference photo for how I wanted the ambient lighting to be, or the rim lighting to be. And yes, okay, so from here I had shaped, I'm gonna go through everything in detail, but I had done the shapes of the lighting based on what I was seeing here. So like a little dot. Well, actually, I think I changed it at one point because I needed to add shadows. So I went back on the poser and I added shadows. But yeah, so I added 3 different layers, and it was like one with the light, one with the regular, and one without the light. So where is it? Yeah, okay, so here we go. One with the light. It's so short. One with the light, one with the regular, and one with the shadow. And then I added them back after I finished the local colors, and I kept playing around with adjustment layers and everything to ultimately get the final result that I wanted. And yeah, I ended up getting it and feeling really proud of myself, really satisfied with the art piece. And so let's break it down a bit more and get into the other stuff. Okay. To the layers. Sketching. Okay. So this is the first layer I did, my rough idea. I put this down at the beginning of, I put down like a rough sketch at the beginning of everything. Some people do thumbnails. This is my thumbnailing, right? It's not a small composition thing, but sometimes I just draw random poses and then pick out of that. Then here comes the second layer where I realized I didn't want it to be like this. Let me see. I don't want this angle where the camera would essentially be how you draw a camera, like a little camera symbol, like this, right? I didn't want the camera to be coming from this angle up, because that's kind of what it is. So when you're doing perspective and stuff, I have like such a complicated understanding of it because I don't know all the fundamentals, but one of the things but one of the things I do know is that there is the vanishing point and the horizon line. That's kind of how I did it. That was the idea I had in mind without really knowing. So then I wanted to do it again because I was like, that doesn't look right in terms of perspective. This doesn't look right either necessarily, but I was trying to get at that. I was trying to get at the, small body, big, exaggerated shape. Because now that if I do it like this, it looks a lot more pushed, if that makes sense. Like this looks small and this looks like it's closer to the camera. It would obviously be a lot more exaggerated in that situation, but yeah. Then here's another one. This is the first draft I did with the mannequin, trying to understand things better. Remember, you're going to have access to all these files so you can see my breakdown of it. And also, the first person to download it will get 2 free brushes, and then every other person will get a free brush after that. So, but if you want all my brushes, Pause for an ad break. I have a new line of pen liners I want to come out with, but I have all my other ones already uploaded, as well as my pencils. So it's not actually the pencils I use, but it's pencils based off of the liners I made. Anyway, this is the first part I did with the mannequin. Second part was adding flesh to this, and then third part was this, which is what I was drawing before, right? Where the legs are closer to the camera, so they appear bigger. And then I worked on top of that and made this one. I didn't end up liking this one, so I did it again. I was trying to keep in mind certain, like, the way certain fat on the body would sit. Like your stomach here. And how with the perspective, your underwear, like, how do I say? The way your underwear is sitting on your body, or the way your hips are tilted at this point, is like, it's a box, right? It's a box with certain shapes. So, like, if the hip box is at the regular shape, it will look like this. If it's bended over, it would look like this. You see, that's like your butt, quote unquote. So it would end up showing more, and would come to like a higher point. Sorry, because you're bending over. The other way, tilting the other way, this would be going back in space. So this goes back in space. And then the line would start higher, and more of your butt would show. If that makes sense. But because she's sitting, I was like, her fat is gonna spread out. Yeah. So that's one thing I was trying to do. Weird break. And then the next layer I did is the final line art layer after all that work. I feel like, let me see something. How long was I in here? So I was in here for 4 hours. Yeah, that tracks. Okay, so then afterwards we have the lighting scenario. So I did the background. I made it even darker. Made the background even darker. I have, let's see what else. Well, keep the line art layer, right? So this is the first sort of draft where this line art layer has been merged all together or something. I think, because I don't see another line art layer. So I must have merged it all together. But yeah, here's the line art layer. I'll take off the background. This is here. This is actually really weird. Where did the other line art go? I must have like condensed it down at some point and then changed things around. I think, yeah. So this is the first draft where I was like, this is where all the light will go. Or no, start from the bottom. I did my flats for the box. These are my flats. Then I did the shading. This looks really nice. More shading. More shading. Shading again. Adding the details on top of the pants so it looks more real. Then this is where all the shadow that I had marked from the reference. Then this is all the highlights that I had marked. I do usually big shapes. Like I take this and then I'll make the shapes of what I'm seeing. Usually they're tapered shapes like this. Like if you have a clothing fold for an arm, the shape will kind of look like you know, like that. So I try to keep that in mind when I'm moving my hands and making these shapes. Then I added one on top with a different lighting and a little bit of Gaussian blur, as you can see, so that she would look like she's glowing, because that's a part of it. So then this part is gonna change a little bit. Here we go. So this is the base, what I just had, right? Behind it, I added those last, but behind it, I added more stuff to make it look like she's glowing. We can add the background in now. So now she looks like she's glowing, but things were missing to me. And so this is what I did. I added the shadow for the arm. I made her face darker, and then I made the rest of her body darker. So her face is even more dark. I wanted it to be like you can't see her face that clearly, right? So if it was like this, there's a little bit more, but this turns out all blue. So there's a little bit more contrast, but this turns out all blue. Then I added on the highlights again, some blur, and then some more to have, because you know, there's whatever it's called, like phosphorescent light or whatever people say. It's not what it's called. But when it passes by ears, it gets red. So I used the color burn layer to have that effect. Then there's my signature. And that was it. But I hope you liked this video. This is a bit of different style. Again, if you want a free brush, download this first, and then everybody else after. If you want 2 free brushes, download this first, the PSD, and then if you want 1 free brush, you will get that's everybody after who downloads it. All right, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.